Yes, recently the Pittsburgh Penguins were handed yet another first-round exit. This time, instead of the Washington Capitals or New York Islanders putting in the dagger, it was the New York Rangers, an up-and-coming team that's bursting with talent, backed by netminder Igor Shesterkin. In this video, we're going to attempt to analyze the series, what it means for the Penguins, and what we can expect as far as changes are concerned. And with that, here's my thoughts on the series, and what the future could very well hold for Sidney Crosby and company. In 2020, I made a video that focused on the previous three dynasties, or rather the most recent, the Los Angeles Kings, Chicago Blackhawks, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. At that point in time for me, as a Penguins fan myself, while trying to be objective, I couldn't fathom another cup coming to the Steel City during the Crosby-Malkin era. Well, since after Montreal knocked them out of the bubble, we've seen the Islanders defeat the team and now the Rangers defeat them in 7 games. Now for some Penguins fans and players as well, forcing the series all the way to 7 games may seem like a preferred fate over being swept instead. However, blowing a 3-1 lead in a series has to be the least wanted result out of the two. And yes, that's exactly what Pittsburgh did. So, how in the world did this happen? Well, it's not like they won the first 3 games, right? New York won the second, but still, this was a choke. Well, for starters, you could very well say that luck wasn't on the Penguins' side. As soon as the series began, Rickard Rakell and Casey DeSmith were both injured by the end of the first game. Sidney Crosby also missed part of Game 5 and all of 6 due to a fluke play involving Jacob Trouba. As I mentioned, being a Penguins fan myself, the overall feeling around the fanbase seemed to be comfort when DeSmith was in net over Tristan Jarry, meaning that Jarry has lost the confidence of fans in the postseason. Doesn't mean he can't prove us wrong, but that's just how it is. However, Domingue at that point was still an unknown. After receiving very little playing time in the regular season, many were nervous seeing him replace DeSmith. Domingue seemed to play decently well, considering, minus the goal in Game 6. Even though he did let in that questionable goal, starting Jarry instead, in my opinion, wasn't the best move. Anyways, luck and the goalie situation aside, the Penguins struggled to hold down leads when they had them. In-game, in the series, you name it, it was a struggle. Out of the struggle, however, a record was made as the Rangers became the first team in NHL history to record 3 consecutive comeback wins in elimination games within the same series. The point where momentum really seemed to shift the other direction is when Sidney Crosby exited the game midway through Game 5. The Penguins at the time had established not only the lead in the game, but the lead in the series. From there, it seemed every time they scored, the Rangers would counter. Now obviously the series is over and there's no turning back, but there's one thing that spectators and myself alike have questioned concerning the final result. Now granted, it's playoff hockey, but even still, in Game 7 you have to wonder if Alexis Lafreniere was penalized if there would have been a different result. In case you didn't see, the forward was able to get the helmet off of Marcus Pettersson, causing him to immediately exit the playing surface. This threw off the play that the Penguins had in place and had them somewhat out of sorts. Interestingly, thinking back, for example, to last postseason, Sam Bennett was immediately penalized for ripping the helmet off of David Savard when trying to produce the same result. As I mentioned, the series has been put to bed, but even Mike Sullivan and Sidney Crosby both agreed that the rule really came back to bite them in the game.
He has to come off. His helmet got pulled off intentionally, but that's the rule.
You know, a terrible rule ends up probably being the difference.
Looking ahead, it's pretty obvious that Ron Hextall is going to be rather busy this offseason, meaning that the team is going to undergo some drastic changes. Longtime key players such as Chris Letang, Evgeny Malkin, and Brian Rust are all pending UFAs. Knowing that the team won't likely be able to offer the Michigan native what he's worth, Rust has almost certainly played his last game for Pittsburgh. Malkin, at 35 years of age, could remain in the Steel City if he's willing to take a pay cut. As for Letang, with his $58 million deal expiring, Letang, according to Josh Yeo from The Athletic, is expecting a pay raise. Kent Hughes, also according to the source, believes that Letang is underpaid. Logically, we could assume that Letang will be signing with Montreal, but for that, we'll have to wait and see. Even though, yes, this wasn't an easy way for the team to lose, you have to hand it to this core group. Crosby, Malkin, and Letang have all been part of 3 cup wins as a trio. The team, with the two-headed monster in tow, has currently the longest playoff streak league-wide, with 16 consecutive appearances. Mike Sullivan now has the most wins out of any coach in team history in the playoffs. Fans have so many reasons to be proud of this team, and very few to feel like they haven't delivered.